Entrepreneurial spirit is that ability to make stuff happen yourself.
And I think the ability to command your own destiny and do what you love. And the other thing is, it's just fun.
We have this philosophy that everything is broken. And every time we look at the business, it's like, okay, what else can we do to improve things? How can we make it better?
Great, we found something that doesn't work. And we get excited. Everybody else is like,
everyone else
I think it's doom and gloom. It's like, no, we found something
mean?
wrong. We can fix that. And then it'll be even better.
Hello and welcome to the next episode of Entrepreneurs in the Wild. What we're trying to do with Entrepreneurs in the Wild is really shine a light on what it is like to be an entrepreneur, to try to ask questions about the entrepreneurial mindset, the spirit, and also maybe explore the fact that maybe all of us could be a bit of an entrepreneur. And joining me in this particular episode, I'm overjoyed that we have Rob White and
Hello.
Stewart Hilton,
Hi.
who are the founders of an agency called ZEAL. Thank you for joining me, guys.
Thanks for the invite, Ian.
Thank you for having us.
Do you want to just say a few words about yourselves? Who are you, your journey, how long have you been an entrepreneur?
Do you want to start?
No, well,
I'll
this is
start.
going to be the difficult one because you've got two people in the room. So Rob, you
interviewing Anton Deck, isn't
it's
it?
a poor man's Anton Deck.
Well, so Stu and I have been working together for about 27 years now. And for the last 10 years, we've been running our agency, ZEAL. Prior to that, we worked together in another agency and kind of worked through various roles within that. I think we were talking earlier about just the entrepreneurial spirit that you talk about. And I think both of us came from a background of being surrounded by entrepreneurs. And that's something that almost gets in your blood, I suppose. And it just so happened that it took a little bit of a while on the journey for us to be able to embark on our own adventure, which we did 10 years ago. So that's what we've been doing for the last 10 years.
Yeah, I think from a fire escape when we probably first met each other outside the building through to me focusing on more creative side, Rob on the strategy and client service, we made a pretty strong team and just always stayed together, ran an agency for someone else, had an opportunity potentially to buy it, it fell through. The path after that was very clear and has been really exciting.
So even though you grew up in like family environments that were entrepreneurial, did you think that you were entrepreneurs?
I think that in the previous agency we were in, we always felt like we were already running it. And I think that's probably something we try and project now onto the team that work with us. You should always feel like it's yours and you're running it. And there are occasional moments where you realise it's not. But we always felt like we were already doing it. But it was only when I think we were given an opportunity, which meant either, if you want this feeling to continue, you're going to have to do it for real. I think growing up as a child of an entrepreneur, you see the good and the bad.
Yes.
I've seen the late nights, I've seen, the difficult conversations that go on, but equally the empowerment of being able to do what you want when you want. So it's a mix, I think.
Yeah.
It worked for us to do it a little bit later. We probably could have done it a little bit sooner, but it also fitted with our lives and where we were both at. So there's nothing but joy for us, no regrets.
No, not at all. I mean, quite the opposite. It's about trying to create a culture for people to be entrepreneurial. And I think we probably talked about earlier the fact that by being surrounded by entrepreneurs early on, then there's almost, you become embedded with a little bit of a spirit of it. So I still remember being 8 years old on the bus travelling to school and selling licorice sticks that I'd bought for about 3 pence from someone before I got on the bus, and then selling them for 5 pence, and just recognising the kind of the commercial gain, but also the fact that it kind of put you a little bit at the centre of attention. And I think just really enjoying that feeling, that was something that was encouraged. And we try to take the spirit of that in everything that we do with the team at ZEAL.
So what is it that's driving you? Because you mentioned commercial gain. And one of the things I've picked up in this series has been quite often that's the last thing people think about as entrepreneurs. That they seem to be sort of driven by kind of who they are or as an opportunity, or they want to be part of something. So it seems to be more kind of personality and emotional, situationally led, rather than pursuit of anything that's particularly about, financial gain. How's it working for you two?
For me, certainly tracks back to when I was younger, which was a combined a combination in terms of feelings of, firstly, fear of failure. So I didn't want to fail at anything. And also through those moments in life as you grow up and you start to do well, it's that you kind of fuel that desire to win at things. And I suppose those are the two things that really drive you. And the more you do it, it kind of gains momentum, really. So it was never really about the commercial gain of that. It was more just this inner drive. And then if the environment that you grow up in is one of those environments where you see people doing that, and the entrepreneurial spirit is that ability to make stuff happen yourself.
Yeah.
And you see other people doing it and you think, well, you know what, I can do that. And I think it's something that slowly grows over time. And we talked, didn't we, about how it took quite a while for us to be able to really, really exercise the entrepreneurial spirit within us and set our own business up. But that was just a case of being patient over the period that we kind of worked together, and then taking that opportunity when we got it and really going for it.
I think it's a control thing as well. I mean, the ability to decide your own destiny. I mean, one of the greatest things about ZEAL, the business, first of all, the name, we get to name the company based on what we want to create. So ZEAL is passion, energy and enthusiasm in pursuit of an objective. So it's everything we're about, it's our DNA. And we had a whole conversation about the type of people we want to work with, the type of clients we want to work with. Unless you're in charge of the show, you don't get to make those calls. So I think I've really enjoyed like I said, we used to feel like we had that control already. Now we've genuinely got it, and I think the ability to command your own destiny and do what you love, I think it's the biggest joy of it. And the other thing is, it's just fun. I was thinking about what gets us through, and the laughter that we have from the smallest moments, because we've worked together for so long, or just the incidences that business throws your way. We find it interesting and fun, and there's a million things to make you laugh every day. So I think that you get that more if you're sort of owning the own shop, even though some of that's difficult and probably stressful. I don't think you feel it as much.
Well, I mean, I followed your journey with great interest. You guys were at Blue Chip, weren't you? Mm-hmm. And I was at IMP.
Yes.
And I always used to bump into you at the award shows.
That's right. I think you bought. I think you kindly bought me a bottle of champagne after you'd won every award that there was here. I remember. I think we'd won Best Aisle-Fid 1997 or something. I remember, which I was proud of.
I remember bumping into him in the toilets, and he said to me, "Are you running your own shop yet?" And I remember coming out and speaking to Stu and saying, "We need to do it. We need to do it." So
it only took another 10 years.
But it's I mean, Blue Chip was an incredibly successful,
amazing
company.
Business that has spawned an awful
really
lot of really successful people in the space. I think the original founders of that business really instilled, some real solid work practices and just thought practices that have really helped us. Yeah. I think same with you when you were at IMP. People have gone on to great things, and I think we helped to grow that business under a different leadership, and we got it to a great size, and we were really enjoying it. Yeah. And we were on a path to do a management buyout of that business.
And was there anything about that made you then have to go and do ZEAL, or was it as simple as like you tried to do an MBO, didn't go according to plan for whatever reason, so what was going on in terms of your conversations and your emotions at that time?
We were on a plan to do an MBO and had a really clear kind of runway to that. And so over time, we were working more and more closely together and thinking about what that plan might be and how we were going to make it work. As it happened, I think we were partly victims of our own success in that the business grew probably beyond what we'd anticipated. And when we got to a point where we said, okay, so this is the deal and this is what this is how we want to pursue it, it didn't work at the time for the majority shareholder, which at the time we were desperately disappointed about, because it was made very clear to us that structure wasn't going to continue and they were going to change the business. Turns out that was the best thing that ever happened. We walked out of a meeting, I will never forget it, I think it was something like the 13th of September 2013, and got in a lift, and because we just worked together for so long, we had such a great understanding. We walked in the lift, gave each other a hug and said, right, that's it, we're doing it, we're going on our own.
We literally decided to do it in the time it took to go from the 5th floor to the ground floor. We called the wives and told them to meet us at I think we met them at a Starbucks, we took them for lunch and told them that was it, we were never going back. And we'd probably have to do 6 months on not as much pay to get through it. And that's what we did.
There's something very interesting about that for me, because we set up Iris, I was like 27 or something.
Right.
So my life was cheap, no mortgage, no kids, nothing to lose, really. You guys, however, a lot more risk.
Yeah.
Did you think of it like that?
No, because not the options. So it was very clear. We knew what we wanted to do. We were already doing it. We were building ZEAL under a different name. And when it was very clear that the toys were being taken away, there was only one choice. Yeah. We had the confidence. I got a brilliant partner in Rob. I knew we would be successful. So it was never, people ask me, you never worried? Were you concerned? I don't remember any stress or fear or anything, just excitement.
Just make it work. We just had that energy, we had that drive, we had that determination. It was just a moment in time where we were confident. Failure wasn't an option. And we just, I think, and having spoken to people early on in that journey and, finding a number of mentors, if anything, the mentors at the time said to us, can you not think bigger from what your initial ambitions are? So.
Yeah, when we used to ask people about the MBO before it obviously didn't happen in the end, but the general feedback from people in the industry who knew it is, why aren't you two guys just going for it? Yeah. And we felt really invested in what we'd already created. And we had exciting plans to take that to the next level that have been surpassed in what we've done with ZEAL, which came with the benefit of being able to build it from the ground up. We've done things completely different. We took the great ethos, I suppose, that drove us, but it's a completely different business than what we grew up in. And we only grew up in one business. That's the other thing. So bringing new people into this journey has been fantastic for us because we recognise we've only got one perspective. So mentors, new team members that come from other agencies or other aspects of the professional world is fantastic for us.
In terms of your journey, like so far, you're still a bit of a kind of hidden gem, I would say. And
are you saying we're crap at PR?
I'm not.
Well, we are.
I'm saying I didn't say that. But you're who you are. And this is one of the sort of things I've learned about myself and also other entrepreneurs is very good at kind of being themselves, very happy to be themselves. And you guys are sort of still very much in the sort of discipline that you have come from. And you are, in my opinion, like the best in the space, by a long way, and I see you winning awards. I see you at the sort of the bits of the industry that you're playing in. Like you are the dominant player, and yet the sort of rest of the industry is sort of really slow to sort of cotton on to who you are, your success, and I feel like you're a bit underestimated, or in fact.
I like that. I think that's great. We probably don't spend much time talking about ourselves, and the other reality is the stuff you're talking about again probably isn't down to me and Rob. It's the people that we brought in there. They are doing fantastic things, and they are absolutely 100% best in the business. We've just got to try and find the environment in which they thrive. That's our only job now. I couldn't sit down and steer the plane anymore. We do things that I have no idea to do, and that's fantastic.
I think when we set the business up, it was very client focused.
Yes.
So probably different to lots of startup agencies that focus on creativity or one particular client. Ours was just about at the time we were focused on becoming the most recommended agency in the world. Yeah. Which was about just doing a brilliant job, and we recruited a lot of people who were totally focused on that and really tried to embed that ethos within the team. And so we were never in a situation where we were looking at how we generated a bigger profile for the agency, and we were really fortunate because we had lots of work coming in. So we didn't ever have that moment where we said, right, actually, let's try and drum up a bit of business now. Let's make sure we try and build the profile, because it was literally just a case of, right, more incoming. How are we going to deal with this business?
When we started, your audience probably can't see the room, but this is a relatively small room. Our first room was a lot smaller than this, and literally in a basement
next to a toilet.
And literally we had a 100% focus. We wrote up everybody Rob knows on one side of the room, everybody I know on the other, with the telephone numbers. I started at one end, he started at the other. After all those phone calls, we had 3 months of meetings. I think we met 26 different clients and ended up with 11 projects. So for us, we've been playing catch up ever since, trying to service what we've got, as opposed to having to go out there and beat the drum. And I think that to that thing about starting late, when you've done 26 years of never letting people down, even when you go dark for 6 months on garden leave and don't contact anybody, when you then emerge, they remember you and the promises that you've fulfilled, and they know that the DNA of the business you've created will be what you've delivered to them. So we've never struggled to get clients, and we've always been very lucky that those clients have stuck with us and recommended us to others. And it is at the focus, it's at the heart of what we do.
I remember when Iris started, we were obviously pretty young, and we started at roughly the same time as VCCP, and VCCP was also, people from IMP, but they were like a generation or two more senior to us. So when they started, I think their founding client was O2, like 50 million sort of founding client sort of thing.
From start.
Not a bad start. And they were older and obviously more expensive, like we're just talking about, but they were at the top of their game. They're already seasoned professionals with the high levels of senior contact, high levels of expertise, very clear around who they are, why they're doing it, what their proposition is. Whereas Iris, not like that at all. It was like difficult to put your finger on it.
It's not what you see from the outside in. We thought we used to look over at what you guys were doing with how you took ownership, really, of thought leadership and different markets, the truth about youth.
Yeah.
I still remember seeing it. You packaged it up as if it was a cereal box. So we used to look at that and think, God, these guys are absolutely smashing it. Well, it's interesting to hear you say from behind the scenes that it wasn't as organised as we thought.
Well, no, I mean, and it's a really good point, that, because it's like our founding client was Sony Ericsson.
Right.
Good, solid relationships. Yeah. We were young, so we were able to credibly work on their sort of younger activities, anything around music or sport or film, we were really good at. So you post-rationalise that as part of your go-to-market.
But did you focus on building profile?
We didn't focus on it, but it came as a sort of byproduct of the nature of the work. So if you're doing like cool and interesting stuff in sport or film, it tends to be something that people want to write about. So we were lucky in that regard. And then, once we've got some IP, you then start to attract other clients who want work a bit like that. So
you build the momentum.
People start to find you because they have a certain expectation about the sort of work that you can do. But
I think that's a little bit the same with us. I think that we're probably a little bit more well-known in the world of food and grocery.
Yes.
Because that's very much, I think there are only probably 2 aisles in any supermarket where we don't have a client, and most of those aisles, other clients are ringing us up asking us if we'll work for them.
Yeah.
So I think for that area, we've probably been very lucky. We are probably famous in a small pond, but luckily there's some major players in that pond that are wonderful to work with.
So just thinking about that for a second, and how your skills have evolved. So there's obviously a big shift now in FMCG,
yes,
and retail in general, and just in terms of how people's habits work and how people are ordering online, and they're using different things for different. So how is that affecting your range of skills and your go-to-market?
It means that we're expanding them. Yeah. I think with the business, you probably look at it as chapters of growth, really. Yeah. And so our first chapter was about actually establish ourselves, get some really big client names on the books, make sure that we've got great recurring revenue, make sure that we're really starting to lay in place the foundations for a brilliant team. And then the approach that Stu and I both take is that there's only so far that we can take things, and if anything, we want to be the least smart people in the room. So then it's about actually bring people in who are more experienced, or more in touch, or just better at what they do than us. And so as we start to evolve, then you bring people in who strategically are sharper than you, who might be far more adept when it comes to areas of innovation where we need to be really sharp, or those people who really understand that retail environment. So if anything, it's by bringing that expertise in and then making sure we embed that within the agency to reflect the fact that, everything's omnichannel now. The fact that, even with the grocery retailers, we need to make sure that the digital shelf is as effective as the physical shelf. And there's been this natural expansion of our area of expertise. So as shoppers and consumers become more connected, then we have to be playing in all of those channels. And so that's just something that naturally has evolved with the business, really.
Yeah. And the world seems like it's coming to us a bit now in the breakdown of more traditional media channels. The ability to connect with people on the path to purchase bits that we've always been experts at seems to be much more important. There's more budget flowing that way. There's more interest from the clients flowing that way. And we've been doing it for years. So we know actually how to get that engagement and create an action rather than just how do you do a broadcast TV ad that, you know, people may or may not see.
Yeah.
And these days it's not see.
And it probably comes from, you know, one of the things I was thinking about actually as we were chatting on the train down today to come and see you is we've enjoyed great growth over a sustained period of time, and we're really fortunate there. And I was thinking about what the key elements are behind that. I think first and foremost, it's the culture of the business. The fact that, you know, Stu talks about zeal and energy, and that positive energy that really helps to define what our people are all about. You then add on to that the ambition that we have. Yeah. So even though we're 10 years in, even though we've been through significant periods of growth, we want more, we want to grow more. We're really ambitious about where we can take the agency. And I think once you have those two ingredients, the final bit really that makes all the difference is the people. And the approach I think we always take is we've got very open mind in terms of bringing people in, being curious about different ways of doing things. And if you've got this fertile environment of a really positive culture with great ambition, and then you put brilliant people into that mix, then that naturally helps you to explode the business and the potential of the business.
Yeah, it's been one of the most pleasant surprises to me that every business textbook you read tells you that when you get to about 30, 40 people, culture's going to take a complete dive, and it gets very hard to sustain it. And we're just pushing on 100 people now. And I do think that we've really got, you know, we don't seem to have silos. We don't seem to have politics. We've got an awful lot of people who pull in the same direction. And I think what we've added to the business over recent years is a really talented senior leadership team to take it to the next level. So through the helps of mentors around us, giving us a nudge to say, you need to do this, we've managed to put together a cast of characters that we think are best in class, you know, and it's flattering that people like that are prepared to come and join the adventure. But that is what it is. It feels like an adventure that we're just still only getting started on, even though we've just celebrated our 10th year anniversary.
But like listening to you, I'm hearing like interesting win, you know, competitive edge. I'm also hearing lots of collaboration, support, lots of interesting people, and I think that's the key in an agency business in terms of making it really successful. And also kind of knowing who you are, what makes you tick, and knowing where your weaknesses are. So like the ability to bring in new people, that in itself is a special skill. Bringing new people that fit your culture, that will get on and get something out of it, and your ability to let them in and share your journey with them. That honestly, that is such a rare. You just don't see it.
We've had false starts. It has not been easy, and we're not saying we've cracked it now.
And
by any stretch.
It's easy to have a mistake, and then that didn't work.
Let's never do it again.
Idea.
No, that's the way you've got. That's when you've got to push through it. I remember somebody who was with us, and it hadn't worked, and when he left, he said, "You guys don't get it. When you bring in a senior person, you've almost got to embrace them more than the most junior. Didn't get it at all at the time. Couldn't understand why somebody just." You know what you're doing. Why can't you come in and just do it? And the reality was he nailed it. It was true. So now trying to make those people work is probably the biggest sort of thing on our agenda. And it isn't easy, and we've not got the best of it yet, I don't think. But it does feel like we're finally getting to the bones of having a crew to run the ship. You know, that can take us to the new world.
But any part of the journey, whichever entrepreneur you're talking to or about, the consistent thing is that you'll make lots of mistakes along the way. And again, on the train this morning, we were talking about mistakes that we've made recently, and I think it's the ability to dust yourself down from when you've done that, not feel sorry for yourself, and get up and keep moving forward and learn from it. And I think, you know, one of the things as I think about our partnership, Stuart and I, there'll be moments where I've been head in hands, desperately concerned about a piece of business or a client or a member of the team and really worried about something. And I think the partnerships you and I have is that we've got the ability to counterbalance each other. So he will come into the room and he'll make me laugh and he'll make me realise that actually it's not quite the end of the world. And I suppose
Rob will explain that it is.
But give me a sense of perspective, and I think that's what you get. I think if you can find a partnership, because a lot of entrepreneurs act on their own, but if you can find a partnership where you've got shared values, complementary skills, and a similar level of drive, then it's a bit of a dynamite.
I've got to say, again, that's one of the things that really stands you guys out. You know, that sort of that partnership, very rare.
Yeah, everybody warned us. To be fair, it certainly warned me. I don't think if I shared it with Rob. Warned me, you know, going into a 50-50 partnership with anyone. You know, it's so many go wrong. You know, what if it goes wrong? And I was always like, okay, so what can I do? Nobody had a solution. You know, so you've either got to go for it and try and make it work, or you decide you're not. We decided we were going to go for it. I think we've had a lot of moments along the way where we know we've got shared values because we've seen each other in action. We can second guess each other. But more importantly, we know what somebody will and won't do from that's in line with what I'm all about as a person. And Rob is that person. So the sort of honesty and the loyalty, it went back to that moment when we set up. There was a moment in time where we had to both resign formally. And I had a bit of a wobble because I realised as probably the slightly senior and a bit more protagonist, I thought that there's a chance I might go in here, resign, and Rob might be offered sort of all my share options and the chance to carry on. Right. And literally, no sooner had those words come out of my mouth, he stood up and just said, I'll just go in first then. So I told him what might happen. Amazing. And he just, without me even asking, just went and did it. And it took him 2 minutes and he came back down. And I went back up there and did another deal for him.
I got all Rob's shares.
But yeah, exactly. But do you know what I mean? When you've seen that that's what you get from a guy, it makes it very easy to then put your trust in him. And I hope along the way he's seen similar things from me in my character. Absolutely. I think you've got, if you do go into business with someone, you do have to share everything. I think you've got to, we're very different. We don't spend each other's time in each other's pockets away from work. We see each other as much as we can, but mainly to do with business. But we're so bonded in such other ways and aligned on the big things that really matter to the business. That's really important. And I think anyone, if you're looking at choosing a partner, that's what you're looking for. Because hopefully, if you get it right, you could be together for 20 years and doing a really good job in some tough times. So someone you can enjoy and respect and trust and laugh with, I think is probably a pretty good tick list to start with.
So is there anything important about being from Manchester, being a northern based? I mean, I know now that you're down in London as well, and your London business is the same sort of size now as your Manchester business, but your start point was Manchester. Is there anything about being from Manchester that has helped you or important to your evolution? Yeah.
I think I suppose the specific area of the industry that we're in is very, very much focused on understanding shoppers, and I suppose there's an advantage to being outside London rather than being in any particular city. So it's definitely helped in that respect early on in the journey. The great thing about Manchester is that there's just a good energy in the city. There's a lot of support for emerging businesses. When we set up, it was actually in an incubator area of Manchester University. So actually the city's really focused on helping businesses to set up and grow and then collaborate. And we're still, we're in the media city area of the city now. So it's a great place to be, friendly people, lots of positive energy. Sometimes a little bit of a chip on our shoulders in terms of wanting to beat everybody in London. So I think that's probably a good thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm proud to be from Manchester as well, Rob says, but the team we've got in London, I think it's at the core of who you are. I don't think it's about where you're from. I think it's who you are. And whether we've found it, easy to find those people in Manchester, I don't know. We've found just as many like-minded souls down here in London. I think there is something in that whole, we used to sell that in terms of going in to see a client and say, yeah, it's great that, you know, we've got presence in London, so we see everything that's cool and hip. But equally, when we go shopping, it's to Asda in Hume, and we're surrounded by real shoppers.
Yeah.
So for the type of brands that we're targeting, and a lot of the grocery retailers are up there, a lot of the FMCG brands are up there. But, you know, our next step for our business is to take that skill set and extend it into sportswear brands and finance brands and mobile comms, based on the fact that if we can trigger a shopper for a box of cereal, we can probably do something with a lot more budget to convince someone to buy a phone. Yeah. So the territory's probably been an advantage to start with, but over time I think it's a neutral point. And we want territories in other places, don't we?
Yeah. I mean, I think you've hit on something really important about ZEAL, the brand, and I think it's part of how you're excelling and growing in a market that is struggling. It's like you're marketing in the real world. You're dealing with real people, real challenges. You're also dealing with where brands and marketing activity and customers, consumer, they all meet. Yeah. That's the real world. It's not like you're not making a TV spot. You're dealing with the reality of how people feel and what people are thinking and seeing physically, emotionally, you know, lots of different facets. And the other thing that you were talking about earlier on that I thought was really interesting is this idea of like customer journeys and how they actually work, but also how they change.
Yeah.
Like given new competitors and new ways of buying things and all the rest of it. And I think you seem to own that without, and you've got there over your 10-year journey, sort of.
I think that's the team that we've pulled in that has given us that. You know, the ability to unpick those increasingly complicated shopper journeys and how you make the connections.
Yes,
I think is more to do with the talented people that we've brought into our strategy function and just generally the whole team. But it's a pretty exciting field to be in, especially at the minute.
I've noticed also that you seem to be making some big signings. So I noticed you signed a big creative director. You've got a new strategy. So
that's right.
Do you want to just explain what's going on there? What are you thinking?
The ambition for growth and excellence, really. So, you know, back to when we originally set ZEAL up, it was all about the energy. The energy is the thing that drives it. It's all about the culture, but we're very ambitious. And we want to excel at what we do, and we understand that. I think I said earlier, we can only take it so far, which is effectively what we did. And it's about bringing people in now who can create world-class functions and help us to grow the business into new markets, grow the business into new categories beyond grocery, and create some really exciting, innovative work. And, you know, in the same way that if you want to be a world-class football team, you have to, as well as having a brilliant team, you're also always on the lookout for key mark signings you can bring in and who can help to lift the already talented team. And I think that's been the ambition, really. For us, the challenge is we've had that ambition for a while, but the challenge is about how you bring people in who you believe are capable of lifting the performance and lifting the quality of your output, but do it in a way that's really consistent with the agency and fits with what we're all about at ZEAL. So, you know, we've really taken our time to do that. We've had a couple of false starts, but I think we're in a position now where we've got some great people.
We've got a dream to sell them as well, I think, is the other thing that we didn't necessarily have before. So John Tracy, our new ECD, who's, you know, completely transformed how we're doing things, is a marquee signing in our world.
Absolutely is.
Lorna Horton as our new Chief Strategy Officer, you know, from TBWA, is a marquee signing. These people are joining us because they can see where we're going. Yeah. They can see the momentum, and I think more importantly, they can see what they can bring to it and how they can benefit from it. So I don't think we'd have necessarily been able to attract those people before, given you started by telling us how...
Hidden gem.
A hidden gem, I think you put it. Absolutely. A hidden gem. Well, maybe we're less hidden now, which means that we can go shopping for better talent, which, given you've got two guys in here from Manchester and one of them Sports United, is probably quite a really important thing. You've got to find some hidden gems along the way.
What United? Which United?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we're struggling a bit at the moment. We'll get there. Apparently all the players are up for sale.
Yeah.
What's the big plan? Where's this all going? When we were preparing for this session, I've learned and been really impressed with your program. Like, you know, I did not think you had so many people. I didn't appreciate that your London office was now so big. You're now in experiential. You're really super talented strategy and creative leads. What next? Where is this going? And it feels to me like you're on the crest of a wave, and you could do anything.
It's interesting. We often describe ourselves as a tea clipper, one of those ships that's going to the new world. Previously everything below deck's been a bit of a mess, but we're sorting a bit of that out now.
A lot of seasickness.
A bit of seasickness. We've got a great ops director that's trying to sort of make it a bit more efficient and a bit more fun. So we've got a great HR lead who's doing the stuff on people. So sorting out some of the basics so that we can go to the new world. So, and that might actually be the new world. I think there's definitely room for us in the States. We've got a lot of clients that are in that market. We've been in those markets. We know what it's about. I think we come from a nation of shopkeepers. If we can't take that and sell it into America, then there's something wrong. We already work across the whole of Europe. For me, the exciting things is where our creatives and strategy teams want to take us into social and content and all the things that the brands that we work for need to do. So it's the discipline that we do is getting more and more exciting.
Yeah. We've got a great combination because we've also got a number of people who've been with the business since we started, really. A couple of key people who have just helped us to continue to drive and grow and still have that kind of desire for growth that we've always had. The ambition is to continue. We want to be world class. We want to be the best in the world at what we do. Yeah. And we have this philosophy. I'm not sure whether anyone else appreciates it, but that everything is broken. And every time we look at the business, it's like, okay, what else can we do to improve things? How can we make it better?
Great, we found something that doesn't work. And we get excited. Everybody else is like, I think it's doom and gloom. It's like, no, we found something wrong. We can fix that, and then it'll be even better.
And because they are incredible. But for us, the ambition is world class. The ambition is to continue growing. I think if you look at the first 10 years, that's chapter 1. We're into chapter 2 now. There's a lot for us to do. We've still got a lot of energy, so we want to make it happen.
And some of the people that created the business are still with us at the start and flying. Yeah, and they're going to take us to the next thing. So we want to give them exciting adventures. So, Rob, I was asked the question at one point: Why do you want to do it? Why are we doing this? Why are we doing it? And his answer, I think, it was in some coaching session: because we can. And I thought it was the best answer we had, because we can, because we can do this now. We know what we're doing. We've got a great proposition, a brilliant team. And why shouldn't we? We enjoy doing it. And that's, as long as we continue doing it, we'll keep having adventures. Yeah.
I think when you have a partnership as strong as yours, that works as well as yours, there is good, which is energy and clarity and, a drive, and also a sharing, because you'll have different strengths and weaknesses. Yes. It can also be really intimidating for other people. So like your leadership group might find it a bit awkward. They might find it difficult, and they won't know who to go to for what. Sometimes, and also they might manipulate that as well. So they might go to one of you because they'll know they'll get a more successful answer. Have you seen any of that, or has it never really been a factor?
I don't think we've had the going to one rather than the other. I think they know that we speak with one voice.
Because I think that's that you do that is incredible. That's really, really good.
Yeah,
that you do that.
I think we have if we have any challenge, it's how do we give them what they need. Yeah, realizing that perhaps we're in the way sometimes, and how do we empower them but give accountability, and that's a constant learning for us. We'd never done this before. Yeah, I think, and we're honest about that. I think that's one of the other lessons I think in being an entrepreneur is humbleness and curiosity. Yeah. Never stop looking, never stop learning. Always ask the stupid question. I think one of our benefits is I'm usually the stupidest one in most rooms. It's great, because actually that allows other people to to decide what we need to do. So it's probably more about getting out of their way than having any particular teething troubles putting them together. I think you just got to throw them together and let them sort it out. Yeah.
And all teams go through periods of, whether you're storming, norming, to get to that point where you're going to really perform well. And as I said earlier, we make mistakes, we get things wrong, and hopefully we hold our hands up and say, look, we made a mistake here. And I think there's that process of learning that we need to do a different role now, and apply a degree of situational leadership where you can recognise that you need to perhaps flex your approach depending on the group that you're with or the situation that you're in.
Cool. what a brilliant 40 minutes.
Is that 40 minutes?
That's flown by.
Wow.
So
that was cathartic.
That was. It's been brilliant to hear what you're doing, and I wish you the biggest success, and long may you continue, and I'll hopefully carry on bumping into you.
Amazing. Keep being a friend of the show and keep challenging us. I love that.
So thank you for tuning in to this episode of Entrepreneurs in the Wild. Please feel free to download this wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you.